Okay, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening in the 5 continents, and welcome to another edition of our English online international English online meetings, broadcasting from Piura, Peru. As usual, let me share my screen so we can see what we are going to do today. So here is my screen. Let me open the PowerPoint, please. It usually takes a few seconds. I don't know why, but so this morning we have a guest from Peru, from Cajamarca, specifically my dear new good friend, Marco Saavedra. Hello, Marco.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Marco, and thank you for having accepted our invitation to present today on a Sunday morning.
Well, it's okay. Great to be here. It's an honor.
Okay, so let me see. It's taking a few seconds to open it. Here it is. Okay, today is our 112th International English Online Meeting. Today is December the 10th, 2023. Okay. If anybody wants to contact me, if anybody wants to watch any video that we have had, this is the YouTube channel, and that's my WhatsApp number, okay? If you want to be my contact in Facebook, this is my Facebook account, okay? And who are our next speakers? They are, well, next Sunday, we have the last meeting of this year. Let's celebrate life, love, and friendship. We will have Deborah Suarez, Isabel Tapja, Mary Scholl, Rana Bilal, Raj Jill, and Dennis Montaño from Ecuador, Deborah from the USA, Isabel from Peru, Mary Scholl from Costa Rica and the USA, Rana from England, Raj from Canada, and as I said before, Dennis from Ecuador. Then next year, we will have Plamen Couchier from Canada on February the 18th. On March the 17th, Marina Alavi from Argentina. Then April 21st, Angelina Lureva from Russia. Then May the 19th, Maya Leon Mays from Peru. And well, who is our speaker today? Let's see a little bit about him. Marco holds the DOTE, Diploma for Overseas Teachers of English, and the CEELT certification from England, Cambridge. He has been in ELT for the last 35 years, both as a teacher and as a teacher trainer. He has worked in different institutions in Peru and Ecuador as a teacher and as academic director for primary and secondary schools, as well as language centers for adults and businessmen. Currently, he's working for a school and runs a language center in Cajamarca. Marco is intensively interested in developing effectiveness in teaching English, and he strongly believes technology has become part of the new era of teaching English and enhances teachers to be in permanent training. So thank you so much, dear Marco, for this time you are going to spend with us and your expertise, and the screen is all yours, Marco.
Thank you very much. So let me share what I've prepared here today. And feel free, please, to feel free to make questions, interrupt me, or just make a comment when you really feel like doing it.
Okay.
So we are starting with something that it was hard to me to decide what title we have to give to this presentation. All right, and then at the end, I thought, okay, training is important in our teacher's life. We are constantly being joining different courses. This is different training sessions, this webinars, seminars, etc., congresses, and everything. So it's a kind of roulette that is running at all times, and we are just participating in this training world. So I said, well, there is a thing that we have to think about. Training, yes. Skillfulness, yes. We are skillful. We have all the DOTE, the COTE, the Delta, the CEELT, and what else can I say? But my question is, Are we really effective in what we are doing? So that was a lot of food for thought in my experience, right? So I want you to think about just for a little minute, okay? What about your training? Are you skillful? And I would like to have some comments from your side.
Well, now that you mention it, I'm questioning myself, and I do not know. I have to be honest, right? We do not know for sure.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody else has another comment to make. Yeah, Hossein, in some way he says, I feel maybe. Yeah, I guess the answer would be the results of the exams and the quizzes, but I always say that a 12, a 15, a 0, 8 doesn't represent what you really know or what
Yeah.
the students are really learning.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the same question I asked myself when I was trying to get into this topic. The thing is, you may be very qualified in what you are doing, all right? Because you have the diplomas, you have the degrees, you have the MBAs, you have all possible certificates. So my question really goes beyond that, because you have the knowledge. My question is, are you applying this knowledge?
Well,
You see?
sorry, Marco, here's Fernanda from Brazil ask you, what do you mean by training and what do you mean by effective?
Aha, that's a very good question. I'm going to reserve the answer to the next part of the presentation. You will
Okay.
discover what I mean by effective, being effective, okay, and being and having the right training. Okay, so let's get on this. Let's keep moving. Okay, training. What is training? As you can see there, you can participate in workshop, develop in skills, learning, coaching, teaching, knowledge, etc. This all marks training, the definition of training. Okay, so definitely you are going to gather all possible resources to perform in the best possible manner. Okay, so you can participate in everything, in every course you have. You can take courses, you can update yourself as we are constantly doing as teachers. Okay, so that goes specifically to one objective or to one goal at the end, to become efficient. Okay, what by efficiency, what I mean really is doing things the right way. You have to focus on processes in the classroom, in your lesson plan, your to perform, to use all your abilities as teacher, and then in all this process of joining all this training and all these things into your planning, organization, and everything, you will start developing skillfulness. Okay, there are some other, I found this picture, which was, I found it very fantastic for the definition. And there, here, for example, we can include some other words for skillfulness: cleverness, skill, adaptness, fineness, dexterity, sorry, knack, adroitness, deftness, ingenuity, artfulness, etc. So the thing is, you become skillful when you use what you've been training for. Okay, it doesn't as always we have learned or heard sometime in our lives, theory without practice doesn't make sense, you see. But okay, the thing is, skillfulness facilitates efficiency. Yes, I agree. My question is, do you refer to your present or your future? That's a question. So skillfulness needs to happen today or tomorrow? That's an open question.
Say that again, Marco.
Again, I repeat, skillfulness, right? Needs to happen today or tomorrow?
Interesting. I guess some of us are born with that skill. Some of us need to develop it, and some of us just do not have it. So that's why we shouldn't be teachers if we don't have the skills. I guess, I don't know. I
Okay,
don't know
this is
if anybody else here in the audience has another point of view. Well, here Hussein says, teaching is like to making a new tasty food by a new method of cooking in time. The ingredients are the same. Also, it depends on how the students are going to accept your method and skill.
okay. The question is, today or tomorrow?
Yeah, today or tomorrow. I guess today. I don't
Today.
know.
That's yes, definitely. The
I
answer.
feel like a student, Marco, that I do not know anything.
Well, to be honest, I feel the same way because it's very hard to say. We train ourselves, we go to university, we take courses, we take international examinations. But the thing is, all this world of training yourself, your mind, your knowledge, okay, when you become a teacher, you have to take into account that it's not just the way you prepare yourself, it's the way you prepare how to prepare your students. You see? So there is a skillfulness. A skillfulness is the ability that you have to use all the knowledge that you've got to in order to be able to transfer this information, obviously not in a theoretical way, but to apply all the different techniques, strategies, objectives that you've seen, all right, into your classroom for your specific students. And I here want to present you the first term that I would like that we are going to see differently today: specific student. Okay, that is something that we've forgotten in all our process of teaching because of the dark side of business. All right, teaching English has become, in one way or in another, a very commercial thing. All right, and most institutions don't care really if the student is really learning, okay, acquiring the language, or is just the money I need from him. You see, and that makes us not really skillful. You
Yeah.
see, that makes us not really skillful. It doesn't matter if you have an MBA, if you are the Jesus Christ or the Lord of the Rings in English in ELT. But if your students are not acquiring the language, that means your skillfulness is not working. You see? So this is something that we have to bear in mind, because efficiency, all right? What is efficiency? Efficiency is to use the right tool for the job. And it's a very simple statement, you see? But my question is, are we really using the right tools or the complete tools for the job? Are we searching? Are we looking up for information to understand how our students acquire a language? Or we just study that at university and all the theoretical items of education that we have to process when we are just studying to get the degree? Can I say, I'm proud, sorry, to be a teacher? And there is another question that I leave it open. What processes are being included to say, I'm proud to be a teacher?
You're asking us, Marco?
Yes, that's an open question.
Well, I'm afraid to answer now. No, this is what I love about these meetings, because we are nothing. It doesn't, I always say in my presentations that we can have PhD, masters, maybe we can have published books, and still we don't know the answer to your questions. How skillful we are, how efficient we are. So I don't know if anybody else here, we have people from Colombia, Cameroon, Brazil, Mexico. I don't know, Roxana, Valeria, anybody wants to answer Marcos? Yeah, go on, my dear Cristina from Mexico.
Hello, guys. Good morning.
Good morning, dear Cristina. Nice to hear you.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Well, I was just texting the message for the answer, and I agree with you that, for example, I was teaching English for more than 20 years, and I was so discouraged when my students came and told me, "Hey, teacher, your classes are great, but when I went to the USA and I wanted to ask for a coffee, or when somebody asked me for something, I couldn't understand." And I was so frustrated, really, 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 because I was trying to I had like the methods and I had like the knowledge and the preparation, as you were saying, but I couldn't feel I was really teaching. Well, I was teaching, but that they were really learning. It was until I started giving classes on my own and my students became my clients, and I was like, I really really need to have them engage in the classes or they are going to leave. And it was an awakening when I started to say, how am I going to do so they can be learning? I remember Ron Morin, you know him, when
Right?
he started posting about the artificial intelligence and all those things. I could start working with artificial intelligence like in a more aware and more conscious way, to personalize the courses. So students now, I have my own students, and I create a course for everyone because they have different needs. It's tiring, it's difficult, it's challenging, but I have another perspective of teaching because we are not the same. Even if we are in a class, we need different things. And being there for the students is a great challenge. And I am very humble because I'm still learning how to become effective, how to become skillful. And it's a matter of asking myself, are they really learning? Is this really helpful for them? So it's a big topic. I'm very happy to be here and I'm ready to keep learning about this amazing topic.
No, thank
Yes.
you for your amazing answers. Thank you so much, dear Cristina. Back to you, Marco. No, sorry, Rosie from Lima, Peru wants to say something. Hello, Rosie.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, I'm very happy of having this kind of question because it made us analyze about our process of teaching, right? And well, I don't know if I am so much selfish, but I said I'm really proud of being a teacher, and I'm really proud of the way I'm teaching. And it's something that makes a combination with Christina has said before, and it's a matter of not teaching the way I want to teach or the way I know. It's teaching the way our students need to be taught, what they exactly need. The personalization is quite important. I can be effective teaching adults, but I'm not probably little kids, or I can be effective teaching little kids and not adults. So I have to adapt. I have to be very aware of what are my strengths and which are my weaknesses, and to work on that and to make them developed and to be aware of it. I know this, but I need that. This constant training is lifetime. It's not a matter of being trained today and because I studied before and that's it. It's a matter of a process of lifetime, and everything changes and we have to adapt to the styles. Sometimes I'm teaching teenagers and the way I teach them is totally different than the way I taught the same age 5 or 3 years ago, pre-pandemic, while pandemic, and post-pandemic. There things have changed, and we have to be open to this situation and accept it. But we have to be proud of what we are doing, guys, because we are working with humans. And if they are learning or not learning, it will depend on not only us, not only the institution. It's like a teamwork. It's students, it's teachers, it's institution, it's organizations, it's programs, it's everything. It's a whole. It cannot be worked as individual things. It's a matter of everything is a unique thing, and we have to be always evolving. So it works this way. I thought 5 years ago, great. It was great for 5 years ago, but now it's a new decade. It's a new time. It's a new way. Well, this give us long time for talking, so I don't want to consume much more of your time, guys.
Thank you for your very important answer. And finally, dear Marco, Mexico, Diana Gallegos.
Hello, everyone. Well, as Roxana and Cristina says, nobody tells you what is going to happen before the career. So when you start your classes as a teacher, maybe you have students with different necessities. For example, I have a hyperactivism child and other with autism. So I must take course to help them to be a great teacher. And well, as Paul says, the learning and training is not enough when you are a teacher.
Yeah, thank you, dear Diana. Now back to you, dear Marco.
Okay, so I'm going to change this now, and I'm going to say I'm not proud to be a teacher. I'm proud to be a student.
Yes.
Okay, because that's what a teacher needs to get into his mind or her mind. You are a teacher. Congratulations. There is a degree that says that you are a teacher. But if you forget that you have to be a student, okay, we are done. That's the end of the story for you as a teacher. Okay? As Roxana said, 5 years ago, everything was nice and cute, right? Today,
Was it?
well, I can say that. Let me dream a little bit about it.
Okay, dream.
But today, it's different. So I need to learn now how to be today.
Yes.
See? So if not, I'm afraid I use this phrase quite a lot. It depends on you if you want to become a dinosaur. You see? And remember, dinosaurs are already extinct. So it's up to you to decide whether you want to keep on going on this roulette or if you decide to give up and get extinct. You see? It's a very simple logic. So I'm very proud. Efficiency means you have to be a student. All right? It doesn't matter how skillful you are. Remember that there is something new every time, and there is something new you need to learn for your specific students.
Just like these international meetings, every Sunday, there is something new to learn. And sometimes many questions like you are doing today that say, wow, are we effective? Are we doing a good job? And now I'm questioning myself. I love what you said, Marco. Sorry to interrupt. You are a teacher. Great, fantastic. You have a PhD. Marvelous. But a much better title will be you are a student, a permanent student. I love that. Thank you, Marco.
That's correct. And skillfulness is very concerned with efficiency. I agree. Okay, we all have weekly class, daily classes, monthly classes, year classes, etc. We all are involved in lesson planning. We have to think about control practice activities, types of interactions, the phonetics in the lesson, the scaffolding strategies, the pace techniques in the classroom. All of them are good. Yes, they are necessary. I agree. Okay, I wouldn't dare say they are not important. Okay, but they are there for some reason, right? My question is, in your present environment, what are they for? Is there anything else you need, or this is everything? That's the magic that makes the good trick. You see? And this is something that as teachers, we've, in all the 35 years that I've been teaching, I've seen teachers forget that initial impulse that they had to try to make things different, to try to make classes more dynamic, to try to see your students as human beings. separately human beings because they are not equal. They have different personalities. They have different limitations. Does it mean that if we have a student who is not very skillful in reading, does it mean he's not going to acquire the language? Because he couldn't pass an international exam because reading is one of the skills that you really need to pass? Do we have any student that has a lot of issues with grammar? Is he not going to communicate any time in his life in English? So we have to put, no, sorry, you failed because your grammar is not good. Oh, sorry, you failed because your reading is awful. Okay? Oh, my dear, I go bananas when I have to correct your writing. You see? So think about it. We have all the techniques. We have all the knowledge. You see? But how can we do to serve our students? And I'm using this word, serve. I'm not using teaching. Okay? Because you are, as a teacher, what are you doing? You are giving a service. Okay? And we need to be humble servants of our students. You see? And that's something that us as teachers, we have completely forgotten. We are the gods. I am the Lord of the Rings. You see? Okay? And that is something that, okay, in my mind, when I see some classes and I speak to some teachers, I say, come on, guy, react. You are a server. React. I'm going to use two terms, server and servant, okay, to make it clear to you, all right? And I'm going to use technology here, server, because you have you are like a hard disk with a lot of knowledge, you see? But a server is the unique technological item that shares information. Okay? And I want to stress the word share. It doesn't mean you as a God, you have the knowledge, you are the only one. You have to make little gods with you. And that's something that we have to think about it in our whole process. Okay, so skillfulness is there, yes, but remember, yes, if I say nothing else needed, no, there are a lot of other issues that are needed, a lot, okay? Let's go through this. Look at all the students that you have. Okay, I've chosen four pictures here. We have a little kid, we have probably university students, we have adults, young adults, and we have people who already run an occupation, they have a profession, etc. Is there anything they all need? Do they all need the same? Would it take them the same time to learn the language? To learn something? Open question for you.
Okay, anyone here in the audience? Fernanda, Damaris, Ana Maria, Dariana, Marco Loyola, Cristina, Marco Antonio Fabricio, Diana Gallegos, Roxy Tenorio, Valeria, Tania Araujo, Isabel, and Zu MYM. Anybody? Yeah, go on, dear Fernanda.
Hello. So even
Hello,
though
dear Fernanda. Nice to see you.
I am so cold at the
Yeah,
moment.
we can tell. We can tell.
So thank you for this lovely presentation, Marco. So well, I haven't had much time to formulate my answer or give you a very thorough like a response to this, but I think that there are so many things that happen inside each one of us. And I think that we cannot tell the students what they need. I think that we should help them find what they need for themselves. So I cannot tell what they need. Maybe they need the same things for certain things. Maybe they all need food. Maybe they all need water. they have physical needs and so on, but they might have other needs related to who they are. So their background, their culture, and so on.
Thank you, Fernanda. Damaris in Cameroon.
So that's it.
Um, okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here. Maybe you cannot see me. My camera has a problem.
No, we
But,
can see you. We can see you, Damaris.
All right. So thank you for this very important topic. Do all of us need everything as learners? I would like to say that there's someone we call Gardner who put up that theory of multiple intelligence, which really summarizes the fact that we are all different in terms of abilities, in terms of the way our brains individually process the information we receive from the environment. Having put this caveat in place, I want to say that we cannot always need I mean, we do not have the same needs, so we will not need the same strategies. That is why it's preferable as teachers to vary our strategies, to vary them according to the types of learners that we have. A while ago, the presenter, Marco, was saying if somebody has a problem in grammar, does that mean that he will not acquire the language? He can still acquire the language. Maybe he's a kinesthetic that we need to manipulate things to acquire the language. Or maybe he's probably a musical learner who will need more sounds to learn the language rather than grammar. So we often say that as teachers. He said, I love what he said concerning the server. We have acquired some theory that we have to pass on to learners, but it's our duty to take care of individual differences in class. That is why I humbly think that we all the learners do not need the same kind of activities, the same kind of tasks, the same kinds of material to acquire a language. Thank you.
No, thank you, dear Damaris, for such wonderful ideas. And finally, dear Marco Saavedra, let's give a minute to Marco Loyola in Peru. Hello, dear Marco, nice to see you again. Your microphone, dear Marco.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, good to see you, Mr. Ankajima. Good to see you, Tocayo, Marco.
Go on,
dear
Marco. Just Jaime, please, Marco Loyola. Jaime.
Okay, Jaimito. Hello, nice to see you. Well, this picture reminds me of a class I have just had, which finished a couple of days ago, in which my youngest student is 12, actually, and the oldest one is 50-something. Okay, so 8 students in the same class, in a basic class, and well, so they have different linguistic needs, right? So they have different necessities in terms of language itself, but what they all need, what they have in common is that so they need chances to overcome those limitations that they have in terms of language learning. So I would say that that's so the common needs. So they don't have the same specific needs, but they all need chances. They all need tools. They all need so apps. They all need so all the resources we might provide in order to help them overcome their particular necessities, their particular limitations. Okay, so that would be my answer in short.
Thank you very much, dear Marco.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back to you, Marco Saavedra in Cajamarca.
Hey, I'm glad that you are following me in this. I'm very, thank you very much. I think it's the message is going through, really.
Yeah.
Okay. What about your students' minds? Some of them go bananas with English. Really. They say, I hate English. Wow, English is terrible. Okay, it's a pain in the neck. Okay, but what about their minds? Are they open? Are they closed? How many of your students feel like in a cage? All right. And what is the cause? There is something that we have to go into really here. And this is that you have to think, you have to keep a balance of what are their minds, their personal issues in their heads, in their minds, right? Versus the ability that they have to develop their intelligence. As somebody said, multiple intelligences. Yes, I agree. Okay, but how the multiple intelligence can develop? Is there something that can break, block, or just make it happen? All right. How many of your students, and here is the sad part of the story, how many of your students have felt like spoiled and minded? Right? And we as teachers, we couldn't realize about it. You see, and we continue with the lesson, and we continue with the contents, and we continue with everything. And we are very happy, and we say, wow, this was a fantastic lesson. I achieved and I complete everything I planned. My question is, what about your student? Did he agree with you in this? Question for food for thought. Okay. And here I'm going to present to you what is important to bear in mind. Okay. Have you ever heard about linear intelligence? That is something that is not really much developed from the L2 side, but it's something that I can tell you can block your students' ability to learn, to acquire the language. Okay? So a person, a student who's got a block in the linear intelligence, I'm afraid he's going to have a lot of issues, and probably he won't succeed in acquiring the language. And that is something that we have to keep in mind, because we have to discover which of our students have this problem. Because you have to develop different strategies, different timing, okay, in order to make them learn or acquire the language. These kind of students who are with the linear intelligence blocked, unfortunately, cannot keep track with the other students. Okay, so it's impossible to have them really inside one class, okay, trying to think that they will connect with the group sooner or later. You see? Okay, there is somebody who raised her hand.
Yeah, Fernanda from Brazil, but living in India. Go on, Fernanda, briefly, please.
Do you have an example, like a real example of what you mean by linear thinking?
Yes, let's go through it.
Fernanda.
Let's go through it. Okay, if you see the definition, the typical scientific definition, all right, it says linear thinking is a systematic and analytical thought process that follows a known step-by-step progression, step by step. First, you learn speaking, listening, speaking, and then you continue, right? Yes? First, you learn to read, and then you go through writing. Okay? What happens?
I don't think so.
Okay, let's go on. Linear thinkers view a problem as a process with a set starting point that follows a sequence, connected series. Okay, so there is a connection. There is like a step by step. Okay, you reason what you are just trying to acquire. A linear thinker is a systematic and analytical thought process that follows a known step-by-step progression, similar like a straight line. Okay, it's simple. So you go step by step, you acquire things. You in your logic, because there is not a map, a general map for everyone, but internally, you set your sequence according to the way you learn, okay? So you reason the way you want to continue to make this process happen. Yes, Fernanda.
Well, I don't mean to be like mean. I don't mean to, but I think that this requires more investigation, and because, well, when we talk about something linear, I think about scaffolding. So scaffolding is a process where we teach students step by step, and we go from the like from the basics to more complex things. And this is linear. We could say this is linear, right?
Perfectly. Perfectly. The thing is,
I think this is important for everyone.
Yes, it is.
Not only one kind.
No, definitely. It occurs for everybody. Yes, you are right. The thing is, what can affect this process to go from basics to the other step? That's the thing, you see? And well, in general terms, linear intelligence is highly associated with emotional intelligence. And I want to steal this word, emotional, okay? In a linear site, okay, we are going to learn how to interact with decision-making predictions patterns because you are starting to reason. As Fernanda said, you go from the basics, then you go for the more complex, and then you really complicate your life with more complicated things, all right? So in all this process, the student may use his previous experience, knowledge, and it will be able to take all this knowledge into his today's action. You see? That is a normal person. Everybody does it, as Fernanda says. All right? The problem is, what happens if something is not there? Something is blocking this. And this is what you have to learn. I have a question for you, open question again. What happens to a student's linear capacity when they are happy, when they are sad, when they are angry, when they are surprised, when they are scared, when they are disgusted? What happens? And I want to make you think more. What causes these feelings? Family environment, school environment, the social environment? What happens? Open question. Think about it.
Open question for everyone, please, people who have not participated. We would love to listen, to hear your comments. Hello, Marco Antonio in Mexico.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Hello, dear Marco. After ages, we haven't seen you for ages.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
We missed you, man. You have any comment, please, Marco?
Yeah. First of all, I would like to connect this question, Marco's question about this pictures here, with the previous question from Fernanda's question, right? Her question was about what is linear thinking and what would be the difference between scaffolding and linear thinking, because scaffolding is a good example of doing something in a linear manner, right? The thing is, we probably have to think more in terms of what is the difference between something which is thinking which is linear and thinking which takes a more holistic view of the process. In the end, learning is a process, but what kind of process? A linear process of learning could be very, very simple from the point of view, but in order to learn, I have to do step 1 first, step 1 second, step 3 third, etc. Right? But a more holistic view and understanding of this implies that we are going to understand that learning is very complex, and in sometimes we are going to find a lot of different issues that occur, that happen, and we have if we cannot go from here to the next step like this, that means a linear thinking, but we have to also pay attention to other factors that happened at the same time, and sometimes make the way probably more difficult. It is like thinking about the syllabus in our basic classes. First, you have to study verb to be. Second, you have to study present simple. Third, you have to study present progressive. And this is the traditional, this has been the traditional way of thinking of many teachers until today, still until today. But we have to think more in a holistic manner. And presently, we do not think of learning English in that manner, right? We think of a person who does not speak English and directly goes to England or the States or any other English-speaking country. The person has to deal with learning something as he or she can every day because he or she has to survive. Right. Well, I think that's connected to this question now. It says here, what happens to students' linear capacity when they are happy or sad or angry, surprised, scared? Well, I don't exactly understand the purpose of the question, but I would say taking what I have just said and many other factors into account, probably when a linear a person who thinks in a linear manner may block himself or herself when he or she has a problem, being sad or angry or surprised or scared or disgusted. Apparently, we may think that when the person is happy, that would be the best moment for he or she to learn something, to continue his or her learning. But probably, I don't know, happy situations may also present many other challenges, right? Related to family environment, challenges related to school or issues related to school environment, social environments. That's my answer at the moment. Sorry.
Thank you, dear Marco Antonio. Very interesting points of view. Back to you, Marco. We still got 20 more minutes.
Okay, so definitely I made you think about it. That was my my purpose at the end.
Well, everyone is thinking deep here, Marco. Everyone is thinking hard. Believe us.
Well, be careful because the linear intelligence or the linear capacity, okay, it's also affects part of the communicative intelligence. The process of listening to somebody, understand what the other person is saying, process the message, and be able to analyze the possible answer and then deliver the answer can also be affected when this kind of intelligence is blocked. And there is the issue. Yes, we definitely, as teachers, we need to include a bunch of other alternatives, like Marco said, the holistic aspect, yes. And that is the issue. You have to include it in your classes according to every specific student you may have, okay? And that is the challenge for us as teachers, okay? And I've been running a project at school to detect this kind of problems in students. And one of the partial results that we have is that definitely when students have different kind of issues that make them feel sad, angry, surprised, and going up in depression, all right? The emotional side blocks the capacity to understand, process, and deliver. Okay, it's very limited. So we need to have to have this in mind in order to vary the strategy that we have to use with them. As somebody said, if we continue with the verb to be, the present continuous, the present simple, okay, this student is not going to do it at all. He's not going to make it. All right, so we will have to use different strategies with him to be more humanistic in another way. All right, because we have to try to unblock this process, okay, and slowly try to get him to start developing certain skills. Probably this student would not be able to write perfectly. Perhaps we will have to use the old-fashioned way of communicative approach. Probably yes. Why not? Probably we will have to use another approach. You see? But something that is very important is try to find out, try to see which of your students are going through this process of blocking. Some of them have a permanent block. I don't know if you've seen people who cannot learn English. I don't know why. And you ask yourself, why? Why, if I am a good teacher? Why this guy cannot learn English? Okay. Probably he has a permanent block. And it's something that he needs to unblock before starting the process of learning. Probably. Who says? Right? Who knows?
Right.
Yes? So the thing is, we cannot solve the world's problems. Yes, I know. Okay? But in our classroom, let's try to make an effort, at least to discover if somebody is with this problem. Okay? Because this helps. In my experience in this project that we are running, we have detected from a classroom of 25, on average, I'm going to try to make average figures, okay? 2 of them have this problem. And when we ask the parents to go through a psychology process with a specialist, okay? When they started the process and they came back a few months later, they started unblocking the process of learning. You see? So here comes another question. Is your job as a teacher to do this? And the answer, in my opinion, is yes. Unfortunately, you decided to be a teacher, so you are a server, you are a servant. Okay? So that means you need to be able to detect these kind of problems and to help. You are not going to solve the problem because you are not a specialist, but at least you can make a sooner diagnosis of this so that the specialist can help and the students will unblock and then start learning better. Okay? Finally, just to finish with this, I want you to show you this. Remember, there are a lot of things we have to do in the long term, in the short term. We have planning, we have teamwork, we have critical thinking. I mean, it's like a bunch of things that we have learned that we have to deal with. But the most important thing is try to make sure that all the things that you have, all right, all the things that you have, okay, are working. All right? And try to feel like the necessity to find these kind of students who have these kind of problems in order to help them effectively. And then you can say that you are being effective. You see? It's not just me looking at myself. Oh, wow, I know what critical thinking is, what the goals are. How can I achieve? What can do? I do my perfect lesson plan. I got an A for this. Okay, come on, this is marvelous. I congratulate you. But the thing is, your student thinks the same as your supervisor. That's a question that I leave you to think about, okay? So basically, tell me true or false. We do not process acquire L2 in the same way. Is it true or false?
True.
True, definitely. Jaime, can you help me with question 2, please?
Yeah,
Oh,
not all students will be able to do well or satisfactory in all skills. Definitely no.
no,
That is something that our students sometimes do not understand. Why my writing is so good, but my speaking is not. I tell them, well, that happens with me too. I can be good for this, but not good for that. So we need to work on that.
Yes. Okay. Statement 3. We are teaching English, deeming students environmental issues. By deeming, I mean considering.
Yeah, you read my mind. Deeming means?
Considering.
Okay, we are teaching English considering students' environmental issues. Let's be open. Let's be honest. Anybody here to answer?
I think we are, at least we hope we are, in the sense that we need to know, Marco, I totally agree with all these feelings that students have that affect the learning process, but there are a lot of factors. Probably if you are studying early in the morning, late night, lunchtime, it's Monday, it's Friday, everything affects. It's incredible. And if I teach business people, right? And then business people are concerned about the presentation they're going to do. If I don't go and we don't start talking about it, all my class will fail. So I always have plan B, or I always have a period of time in my classes. Fortunately, I teach one-to-one. And I have, okay, tell me, what about your presentation? What are you going to do? You feel confident about this? Do you need any help? When we finish with that, then I can go to my class. And sometimes never have the chance to do my class, but talking about their own concerns, their own problems. And that's the class. That's what they need. So we need to give the students what they need at the moment they need it. No, and as you said about all those factors and all those problems, definitely they block the learning process, definitely. And we have to go to that situation. And for example, you have students who are not really into grammar. And if I start my class and telling them, okay, today we're going to do grammar, say, oh no, grammar. Okay, I'm not good at grammar. So I never use the word grammar. I learned that from my teaching process. I teach inductively. We start practicing, and by the end of the class, you say, this was grammar, and we were with conditional. Bye-bye. And then, the situation changes a lot. The report and the class environment are very important. Okay, there's no more.
Thank you so much, dear Rox.
Okay, that's it. That's what we have to think about it. You see? All right. And the last issue here, we are just doing what we are told, influenced to do. You as a teacher, your supervisor telling you, you have to do this. You have to complete lesson 1, 2, and 3 from your course book. Okay. So is it true or is it false in your teaching?
No, we don't do what we are told, I guess. We always do partially, because we have to. But I guess we pay more attention to what we believe, what we know that works, what we suppose in fear, according to the group of students we are working with. Yes, dear Damaris in Cameroon.
Okay, thank you. You just said my mind. I was about to say that we tend to do what we are told, what we are asked by the hierarchy. But in situation, in classroom, we appreciate and we adjust our methods according to the difficulties we face, according to the specific set of learners we are dealing with.
Okay, definitely, I think I achieved to make you think about this, and I'm very happy about it. Okay, now look at the picture that I have here. This is your student. The red guy here is your student. You as a teacher, you have to make a clear path forwards. Okay, if you as a teacher feel that your student is like having a lot of issues where to go or which way to take, it's time to you to reflect about your role as teacher. Okay, and you have to find out why is he making so problems, and why is he so bananas about the way he has to go. Right, that's your job as a teacher. As Roxana said, there are a lot of issues: family, schedules, interests. There are a lot of issues. Okay, but it's your job to find how to solve these issues. Okay, and if it is not on your level of expertise, okay, derive it to the expert. And be honest with your student, and if it is a child or a teenager, with the parents. You see? And this is something that, unfortunately, I hope I am wrong, really. I really would like to be wrong about this. But unfortunately, most institutions have forgotten about this, the purpose of education. You see? So they just want the money in the pocket, and that's it. Okay? So my reflection today is to make you think your students need to develop certain things, to clear up some things in order to facilitate the process of acquiring the language. Okay? And this is something that we have to think deeply inside our minds. I think Fernanda is asking us.
Yes, so thank you. Well, I think that's all very very nice. But I believe that many students are in the class and they don't even know why they're there. So I think that this is one point that we should consider when we are in the class. So how can I try to tackle someone's problem if I don't even know what they want, right? So I think there's a very fine line on what we can do as teachers and what we can't do. And it depends on each student and each situation, but mainly I don't think we should interfere with the process. Like you said, I think that even the fact sometimes of identifying something and calling the parents might be a mistake already. So I think there is a fine line between what we can do and what we cannot do as educators. Okay.
I dare say you have to follow the process that needs to be followed. Okay, so for example, if you don't want to, you don't feel like speaking to the parents, you have to use the psychological department for your institution. You see, and make them transfer this problem to them.
The
because
thing is, yes, sorry, continue.
So if there are two ways to take here, to just stay in the as you said on the fine line, all right, or you decide to do something. It's up to everybody to decide this. It depends on the situation. It depends on the environment you are in. It depends on the laws that you have in your country. Okay, so it depends on many other factors that we can take into account, or we should take into account. All right, but the thing is, if your student is there, my suggestion or my feeling is, let's try to do something that can help. If it is small, small it is. If it is a huge thing we can do, huge it is. But let's try to do something to make this happen. That's the issue. Because if not, we are going to continue like like we are on the fine line, all right, and we cannot do anything, so we step back. You see, and then you feel like you are not you have lost the educator purpose.
Thank you. Could you please, Marco, stop sharing your screen so we can see each other? Thank you so much, dear Marco. Let me read a comment made by Ofelia Mendoza from Mexico in Facebook Live. She says, updating our knowledge will always make our students feel confident about their learning. As it was mentioned at TESOL, Italy, why do we want to be leaders? How are we going to use that leadership? This is our role as teachers. Encourage our students to become leaders through knowledge and being humble enough to learn from each other every single moment. And that is something that I would like to take away with me, dear Marco, to be humble. Doesn't matter the titles you have, the certificates you have, the studies you have studied, or if you have written books, whatever. As you mentioned at the beginning, I prefer to be a learner, a student, rather than a teacher, because students are always learning, are always passionate about getting new information, learning something new, and nothing, as Julio Valladares usually says, nothing is written in stone. Nothing. Let's try, let's experience, and see what happens. All right? Thank you very much, Marco. Let's listen to other people. Briefly, please, anybody who wants to make a comment. Ana María Viloria, Cristina Mauricio, Marco Antonio, Diana Gallegos, Nora Suárez in Mexico, Patricia Rodríguez, Roxy, Valeria, Tania Araujo, Isabel, or Zoo. Anybody, please?
Yes. How is it in your part of the world? Like everyone who is quiet. I think Ana Maria wants to say something. No? How is it over where you are? Like I'm in India, so there is a context here which is very particular. Like emotional, psychological issues is something that people are not very open to deal with. I mean, it's something very private. You know, you wouldn't even comment with the student, or it's a taboo basically. So how is it in your part of the world? Like, does your institution have psychological support? How does your school deal with psychological support? Like, do you think that's something that is present where you work, or how is it present? I'm really interested to hear.
Yeah, it's like half and a half. Okay, it's half and a half. Sometimes we have a psychologist, sorry, but sometimes we don't have it. Okay, it's like it happens sometimes and sometimes not. But the thing is, you are not going to be you're not going to interfere in your student. You have to learn to make him trust you. That's the thing. I have a student. Let me share something very shortly. I have a student who has a lot of issues in his family. All right. If I tell you, oh, Jesus Christ, we say this guy is going to get depressed and kill himself one of these days. All right. And he is very silent in class. He doesn't speak a word. He doesn't share anything with other classmates. All right. And when I detected him, and I started like sitting with him very closely, or sometimes just walking around him and saying, do you like drawing? Yes, I love drawing. Okay, can you draw me a picture, a cartoon about myself teaching English now? I love it. Don't focus in the class, forget the class. Just, I need a cartoon, you know? I'm very fancy on cartoons. And he was like looking at me, wow, this is a Martian that came to Earth. All right. And I said, could you do it? And he said, okay, I'll do it. And he started doing the cartoon during the class. And at the end of class, he showed me the cartoon and said, look, here's your cartoon. Thank you very much. We put him a name? Can you put him a name? And he started talking to me slowly, without pressure. You see? Now he starts reading in English. He doesn't speak yet, all right? But due to this trust that this relationship that we have built up for 1 year, scholar year, okay? This guy is starting to, I told him, do you like comics? Yes, I am Marvel comics. Okay, I brought some Marvel comics in simple language. And I said, can you read it for me and make me another cartoon? Yes, I'll do it. And now he's starting reading. You see, it's going to take a lot of time. I'm sure of that. All right? But a little piece of sun was put there. Okay? So you are not going to interfere. You are not going to make things collectively. All right? But the thing is, you can help just by watching and being there for your student.
What
Keep
you
it
have,
simple.
sorry.
That's it.
Okay, what you have just said, dear Marco, reminds me of what Mary Scholl taught us, and always mentions. The classroom has to be a safe place. Safe place. Safe place, just like this place, where everybody feels safe. And the other thing she says, create a community in the classroom, a family. Everyone is the same because we are human beings. Nobody else nobody is superior to other people. Nobody is inferior. Okay, so thank you so much, dear Marco. I would like people to say thank you to Marco and what we learned, more than a question because of time. Please, anybody?
Thank you so much.
Yes,
So,
I want to appreciate, Marco, the opportunity to give us to think about this. It's very important to be aware, to keep it in mind, and to use just common sense. We are teachers innate. We have the knowledge. We are the ones who are with our students much more than their own parents. We see second after second their attitude, their reactions, and to create a bridge. Sometimes we teachers are the bridge between students and their parents, where they don't manage to communicate much. There are a lot of things that we can do, but we have to be careful. We have to be conscious of what we're doing. We have to consider they are new things. They are souls in our hands that we have to model, and we have to be very, very careful about that. But at the same time, we have to move. We have to do something. We are not there just to cover pages and chapters. We are much more. So thank you very much, Marco, for this opportunity.
Thank you, dear Rosie, and Maya Mays from Peru, but living in the United States. Marco, she says, Marco, thank you for making us think beyond our lesson plans. Yes, thank you so much. Anybody else, please, who wants to express his or her gratitude?
okay. Thank you, Marco, for this very important topic. I'm happy because I would like to say that by the end of your presentation, I feel like questioning and reassessing my methods, my strategies, my relationship with my learners, and my personal life as a teacher and a researcher. And thank you for reminding us that we are permanent learners, and we will keep improving on that and focusing on the human or the humanistic aspect of teaching, because we are always too stressed up about what a student can say in English, but at times we do not really pay attention to the individual socio-emotional concerns. So thanks very much, Marco, and thanks, Jaime, for this beautiful community.
Thank you, dear Damaris, and sorry about the problems, the technical problems we had last Sunday, but for sure you will be with us next year. Before Diana Gallegos from Mexico speaks, let me read to you, Marco, what Debra Suarez, the current TESOL International President, says. Marco, this was such a thoughtful and reflective conversation. You pose great questions. I'll continue thinking about these questions for weeks to come. I would say for the whole year to come. Okay.
Not your whole life.
Diana?
Well, I want to thank Marco for all this conference. It was very interesting, and the questions makes me think a lot in my students. And well, the learning is not enough as always. As other teacher says, we are the second parents in our classroom, and that's why we are here. And thanks to teacher Jaime too for this space. It was a great conference. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, dear Diana, because without you, without people like Marco and all the guest speakers, we wouldn't have this space. Anybody else, please, before going back to Marco Saavedra in Cajamarca? Anybody else?
Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Jaime. We are all always students. I learned that.
Yes, yes, that's true, my dear Ana in Colombia. Before we go back to you, dear Marco, let me remind everyone that next week is our last meeting this year. And we will have these 6 wonderful people: Debra Suarez from the USA, Isabel Tapja from Peru, Mary Scholl from the USA and Costa Rica, Dennis Montaño from Ecuador, Raj Gill from Canada, and Rana Bilal from England. They will be talking about let's celebrate life, love, and friendship. This will be our last meeting this year. Time to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to all the guest speakers, to all the audience, and people like you, Marco Saavedra, who on a Sunday morning gives away time and expertise and a lot of reflections. Time for you to say goodbye, dear Marco.
Thank you very much. It was an honor to share something that we learned. Remember, I'm a student as well, so I'm still on the job. All right, we are all. So it's going to take us a whole life and probably next life, if you believe in that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear Marco. Well, everyone, see you next Sunday. 2 more weeks and we will celebrate Christmas. Time for me to cook and do the washing up. I don't know about you, Marco, about you, Roxy, Isabel, Colombia, Diana, Damaris, Valeria, Patricia, Nora, Tania, and Zu. See you next Sunday. Hope to see you next Sunday. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Bon appetit. Have a nice Sunday. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Too. Blessings. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you next year, Marco Antonio. Next year, it's your time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.